party, Mom.
Good.
I just don't know what happened. I guess,
I never do.
I'm confused. With us now, specialist in U.S. Middle East policy and former Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs, Liz Cheney.
Liz, welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be back.
Liz,
Thank you.
We want to talk about the Olympics, but first, let's talk about Afghanistan.
Yes,
McChrystal
Afghanistan.
firing a shot across the bow, basically saying we need the troops.
We need more.
Is this a response to the generals in 2003 that wanted more troops but didn't feel like they got what they needed in Iraq?
You know, I think it's really important to look at what actually happened here. General McChrystal was sent out to Afghanistan with the president's strategy, which was a counterinsurgency strategy. The president decided that before March when he sent General McChrystal out. General McChrystal was giving a speech in London, and during the entire speech, he didn't take a position on the policy. At the end of the speech, he was asked a question about whether or not an alternative to the president's policy could work, and General McChrystal defended the president's policy. Now, the president seems now to have moved away from the policy, maybe moving away from it. I hope he isn't. He seems unclear, but General McChrystal's taken an awful lot of heat, and I think people need to really step back and look at what he actually said.
I saw McChrystal in 60 Minutes, the general, and saw him actually chide Secretary Gates. I don't know if you saw that clip or not. And I sat there, and again, I like General McChrystal. He seems like the type of guy we need over there. But I sat there going, okay, wait a second. We've got a general criticizing the Secretary of Defense. Your father, a great Secretary of Defense, certainly wouldn't have like generals.
I think it's too strong to say. Well, I think it's too strong to say he was criticizing him.
I think
he has sent in his request for troops.
How would your father respond to that as setback?
I don't think if my father were Secretary of Defense, we'd be in a situation where we had made a decision about a strategy, and then the general comes in and says, "Here's what I need to carry out the strategy." In fact, we had exactly that situation. Joe, we had exactly that situation in the Gulf War. But look at the comparison with the Gulf War.
We're talking about chain of command here. There are always generals that always criticize the Secretary of Defense, regardless of who he is or what the issue is. The question is, and we're just trying to figure this out here, would your father have sat back quietly if he had had a general in 1990, 1991 criticize him on 60 Minutes?
I don't think that's a fair characterization of what General McChrystal did. And I think the better comparison here is to look at during the Gulf War, when we sent, we put General Schwarzkopf in charge, and then President Bush 41 and my dad said, all right, what do you need to win this war? And he came in and said, I need hundreds of thousands of troops. He made a list that was much bigger than I think anybody would have anticipated, and they said, you got it. Now,
okay.
You carry out the strategy.
Let's stay on my point. What if General Schwarzkopf, though, had decided that your father was dragging his feet on that action item list and criticized your father?
That's not what General McChrystal did. That's just not fair.
You said he was dragging his feet.
I think
come on, you know what he said on 60 Minutes.
He has sent in a request for troops to carry out the president's policy. Now, I'm not sure that it's ever happened before, frankly, in the history, at least recent history of the nation at war, when we've got a general on the ground who said, here's what I need to win, and the Secretary of Defense and the White House are saying, don't tell us. Don't send the request in. It's not clear to me, frankly, where this request is.
That didn't happen in 2002 and 2003 before Iraq? You didn't have generals saying we need more troops?
No, that's not the issue. The issue is whether you've got your commanding general, and frankly, throughout the entire course of the war in Iraq, you heard from the president, if my generals tell me we need more troops, we'll send more troops in. And when the president decided to send more troops in the surge, he had to convince the chairman and the other members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that that was the right approach. But here you've got a general who was put in place to carry out the president's strategy, and he's saying, yes, sir, and if you want me to do that effectively, here's what I need. And the White House is saying, no, we don't want to hear it. Now, they've already had their strategy review.
Is that what they're saying?
It seems to be. All of the news reports are, don't give us the numbers. We don't want the numbers. Now, I don't know if the numbers are with Secretary Gates. I don't know if they're still with General McChrystal. The news accounts are that they're in the Pentagon, but that the National Security Council is saying, wait, we got to have a talk first. We don't want these numbers. Now, it would be one thing if they hadn't already had a talk and decided on a strategy, but time is not, on our side at this point. You've seen the reports in the last few days of, sort of the resurgence of the Taliban. So I think it's very important that people look at the facts here and not just trash General McChrystal, frankly.
What do you figure, Liz? We have just one meeting about how many troops to send? Just, because someone sends up a troop request, he needs another 150,000 troops. Let's just have one meeting for an hour about this?
No, I think actually the president should have been spending a lot more time on it than he has spent.
Do you know
I think
how much
you're
time he has
absolutely right.
spent on it?
I think that we have now had this president in
Remember
office
General
since
John
January.
Shinseki, by the way?
Since January, we've had this president in office.
Do you
And
remember
since
General
January,
John Shinseki? You were just talking about
That's
under
right,
your...
I do.
Yeah.
That's right. And in Iraq...
What did he do?
In Iraq, we had a situation
What did
where...
General Shinseki do?
We're not talking
He
about
said
General
in the Senate,
Shinseki, but
but he
we
said
can talk about
he
it.
said in the Senate
I think
committee...
it'd be terrific if General McChrystal got to sit in front of a Senate committee, frankly.
General Shinseki sat in front of a Senate committee and suggested that the number of troops being sent to Iraq were woefully inadequate. And about 2 weeks later, he was gone.
The difference was this General McChrystal, is actually implementing the strategy the president has told him to implement. So you've got a strategy that the president has put in place. Now, General Shinseki was talking about doing a different strategy, not carrying out what the commander-in-chief had asked for. The commander-in-chief has asked for... The commander-in-chief has asked this general to carry out a strategy, and he said, yes, sir, here's what I need.
But
and now he's being trashed for it. So let's look at what's going on in Afghanistan, and let's all hope, as I know we all do, that the president and the White House will make the right decision on this.
General McChrystal has also said that he thinks it's a good idea to have these ongoing discussions.
No question. We should have more of them. The president should have seen him face-to-face more times than 25 minutes in Air Force One. I think we can agree on that.
I'm not sure that's just what happened, but I do think we can
Well,
agree that we don't
actually,
have a lot of time for
General
clarity. We
McChrystal
need
also
clarity.
let it be known, though, in 60 Minutes that I think he had not talked to the president in how long? Months.
Yeah, once in
Maybe
7
talked to
months.
him once, which again, that's
Or 70 days.
That was not
pretty
good.
pathetic
That was not good.
on the White House's part. Really quickly, we've got to go. Lightning round, Liz Cheney, Olympics. Were you sad to see America not get the Olympics?
I was, because I think it wasn't just an embarrassment for President Obama, but it was an embarrassment for America. You know, American prestige is something that you've got to preserve, that you've got to hold for really important things. And this was a situation in which, frankly, I think we wasted it. I think clearly American prestige was diminished by the fact the president made the trip personally, he lobbied personally, and then we lost so badly. So I don't think it's a good thing to see American prestige wasted and see America embarrassed like that.
All right, Liz Cheney, thanks for being with us.
All
We
right,
need you
guys.
back.
Thank you.